off by saying welcome.
Thank you.
Very welcome to Southnord. And would you like to briefly introduce yourselves individually as people, and then before we get into the whole Harriet Allure?
Yeah, for sure. I can kick it off. First, thank you for inviting us. It's an honor, it's a pleasure to have this kind of setting and just to share our thoughts in general and vision. That's always what we plan to do. So I'm Freddy. I'm 27 years of age. I'm German. May not look like this, but I was born and raised in Germany. As you said, I'm originally from Ghana, Ashanti tribe. And yeah, I started this beautiful candle brand with Alex like 2 years ago, and enjoying the journey so far.
Exactly. My name is Alex. I'm 28 years old. I'm from Düsseldorf, Germany as well. Ghanaian. And I've been living in Stockholm, or like let's say Sweden, for like 5 years now, because I've been studying here. I did my master's here in Stockholm, and ever since I've been here because I liked it, and a lot of things has been happening for me here. I think this idea was also based on Sweden experiences, and yeah, happy to talk more about this project.
Wonderful. Are we starting with the video? Okay, so we have a short screening, and we might have to switch off the lights so we get a better. You could help me. Thank you.
A number of you have been having to deal with power outages. These
light is a very essential tool because it allows us to see during the night when every place is dark.
So, ma'am, candle is Jimmy.
Oh, candle. Baby, I can highlight of when you was so candle. Agbene, woman, Winnie, Wajala, Keha Adidon, Keha Kolo Bibini, Eka Summer one EBA, or when you was so candle, like a Wajala, a war, if you fine. They were no Shishomo Jake, Sanaso candle.
We pass on our legacy from generation to generation. We love to share and enjoy together. We embody love, togetherness, and bonding with ourselves. Like I said, we love to share. This is us, one big family. The path of life is never straight. Its twists and turns are where we find our strength, our purpose, and our truest selves.
If there is light at the end of the tunnel, it means there is hope. We need light.
Tell us the story behind Harriet Allure.
Yes.
How did it start, and why is it called Harriet Allure?
I mean, I can kick it off, Alex. Feel free to add in if you want to. Super interesting question. Alex and I have been friends since forever. Like, Alex is one of my oldest friends. Like you saw his mother in this video. Alex's mother and my mother were actually friends before we were even a thing. We weren't even a thought back then. So we have family ties, to put it short, and we've been through many adventures together, traveling, making memories, also like meeting new people. And 4 years ago, I think 4 years ago, me and Alex's path kind of divided since Alex moved to Stockholm, Sweden, and I moved to Berlin from our hometown, Düsseldorf. And we had both similar challenges with settling into new environments, meeting new people, trying to feel home at a new place. And then this is where the initial idea of Harriet Allure comes from. How do we make this new place, this new environment, our comfort zone, somewhere where we feel at home? And the best idea that we could come up with, and we still very think is a great idea, is that you take scents that are familiar to you, scents that you have a specific connection to, and bring them into the new space so you can feel at home. And this is basically like how the whole brand Harriet Allure started and the candle idea kicked off. But maybe you can also talk a bit more about the name Harriet Allure itself.
Yeah, 100%. As Freddy said, we share a lot of memories together, a lot of experiences that we've been through. And yeah, there was a time where I decided to go to Sweden to study, and he decided to go to Berlin to pursue his working career. And I think everyone knows that smell of a new apartment where you basically haven't really settled. It smells very weird, it smells very strange, And when I moved to my first student apartment or student dorm in Uppsala, I remember it was smelling strange. And I remember the first weekend when Freddy moved to Berlin,
Yeah.
I remember that I even went to visit him, and there was only a mattress and a candle, basically.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing that we had to, make the place a bit more comfortable. And the same thing was for me when I was in Uppsala. So referring to the name of the brand, basically to break it down, Harriet is the name of my mother, and Allure is a reference to the organic shape of the candles, basically standing for each and everyone's unique path of life. So basically, we might share the same experiences, but we experience them in a different way. And why do we name them after my mother? And why do we named our hero product, Amma, after his mother? Basically because, as Freddy said, initially we grew up together. When my mom was working, I used to spend a lot of time with him at this place. So his mom was kind of my mom, in the same way, other way around. Yeah. So it just happened natural. And at the same time, our parents moved to Germany, I think the early 90s, late 80s. And I think everyone can somehow imagine what kind of time it was in Germany back then and how difficult it was for a black person as well to settle in a language that you don't speak, so many other challenges. Yeah. And while we grew up, to sum it up, it was just thought to us to learn how to embrace two different sides, the German side, but also the Ghanaian side, which we both have. So we visited Ghana very regularly, so we knew where we were coming from, and the same thing for Germany as well. Embrace the language, the culture. As much as I am Ghanaian, I also feel very German. And I would say that Sweden has been a part of me as well ever since I studied, and I can call this a home, and I think Freddy can call Berlin a home as well. So basically what we're trying to communicate through our brand is belonging and memories, because I think at the end of the day, we all want to feel belonging to a place and feel home at the place. And yeah, that's basically the core. We're trying to transcribe our experiences and memories into fragrances that we hope that many of you guys can resonate with.
So we have 4 fragrances in front of us here. Can you just walk us through what they are, what they're called, and like what they're made of, what the scents are?
Yeah. Alex already talked about my favorite one. Obviously, I'm biased. This one is named after my mom, so I can't say nothing else here. This is our product called Amma. How do I frame this? Amma, we started with the idea of we want to create something that feels very home, very comforting, very like motherhood also resembling. And this is the scent that came out of it. It has a very flourish scent. It's a bit of a sweeter note in there. We have amber also in there in the base. But this is our I would say hero product, we can say, since it's like, I feel like everyone loves it, but this is my favorite product, and this is Amma. And maybe I can talk also about Tattoo, since it's recently also been gaining a lot of traction, I would say. Tattoo, me and Alex were on a production visit in Estonia. In Estonia, for you who haven't been there, the nature is very beautiful. I can imagine, as we have many suites here, the nature in the Nordics in general is very beautiful, and we were so impressed by all the green landscape and how peaceful and quiet it was, that we say, hey, we want to resemble this in one of our candles as well. So this is what we did with Tattoo. Tattoo has a very natural scent. It has rosemary in it, basil in it, and it goes on with different candles. Maybe Alex can talk about the other 2s as well, but Just to give you a general understanding, every candle has its own background, a different memory that we went to together. That we try to channel in a scent that like shows it the best.
Yeah. And to add something as well, where do we produce our candles? So basically the container is produced in Portugal, handmade, and then we have the fragrances coming from South France, like grass. So that's are the components that we have for our complete candle. The wax is rapeseed wax or sometimes even soy wax. And our idea is to reuse the candle after it's burned out. And the idea is also to showcase, as I said initially, like just individually the path. And talking about the two remaining scents, basically the brown one, Fires, smells very woody, very smoky. So it's a very intense and a very strong aromatic smell. Just alone for the fact that we wanted to resemble someone who's very bold, takes risk, loves adventures, and is not afraid of things, you know. So that was the idea there, because when you move somewhere or when you do new adventures or new stuff, you move to a certain place, you have to be somehow bold in order to, you know, arrive at the new place and connect to people and build new contacts. And the same thing for, or a similar story for minuit, which is French and means midnight. So basically the idea is at midnight, no one really knows what's going to happen the next day because it's very unknown. So the idea was just basically to showcase how it felt for us moving to Berlin, not knowing what's going to happen. Is this going to be a nice journey, an adventurous journey? And the same thing was for me when I moved to Sweden. Will I settle there? Will I be able to, you know, personally arrive there? And what I can say, I was supposed to stay there for 1 year and it's ended up being 5 years. And I think that alone says a lot about how much home I felt. So that's the story behind our 4 candles.
And I love, I really want to rest in the shape since it's design week as well. I love how the shape is so organic and it sits so well in the hand actually, depending on, you know, how you turn it. And when the candle is empty, like I've seen on your website and your promo, that this could be a mug, it could be a vase, it could be, you know, the pen holder, it could be all kinds of things, that there's this care and thought built into the product from before. You can see this one on mine as well. But I want to just tie it back to this exhibition on how scents connect with emotion and memory. And you've talked a little bit about that, like how you use memories to make your sense, but would you like to expand a little bit more about how and which moods and memories like do you shift between candles depending on what you want to invoke, and how would a new candle be like? If you were to do a candle of the diaspora, for example, what would that smell like?
Yeah. I mean, to kick it off, the shape that you talked about, quick story to that. Me and Alex were working on this project for like maybe half a year already, and we have not published anything. So we really took our time with designing everything, the whole symbol, the shape and everything. And the first time I saw the shape in the form of a 3D print, I was like, this is it, Alex. I love it. It's so nice, and it's as the name says, it's very alluring. It looked very nice, and it fitted just so well with what we were actually trying to present with our project. So that was my first encounter when I saw the shape. I immediately in my head I was like, okay, this is so nice. You can reuse it. You can do this and this with it. So when we talk about the shape, that was at least my first reaction when I saw the shape.
Yeah. Regarding the scent notes and how we develop them, if you want, and how do we come up with them. So basically, I think it just happens very naturally and organic. We sat at a table with a professional perfumer, and we kind of like, we prepared for the meeting and explained what we want to how do you say, communicate to our audience with this particular scent. So, for example, when Freddy spoke about this cream-colored candle, which smells a bit more light and a bit more soft, because for us, that's how childhood smells. soft, unbothered, easy, you know. So I think it's easy to put those kind of attributes into a scent note. So by trying different kind of scent notes, okay, what for example is cardamom or sandalwood or apple, like what can make a scent feel a bit more, how do you say, unbothered or soft or just easy, you know what I mean? I think the brown one resembles that pretty easy because it smells very bold, and tobacco is a note which is very dominant. Same thing for sandalwood and in general, those kind of notes. So we're trying to basically transcribe those moods, feelings into fragrances by also not forgetting the different attributes of those notes.
Yeah.
If a note is more sweet, then we might as well try to use it for a, let's say, positive smell, like a childhood smell.
Yeah, we don't really bend the, or we do bend the smell to the point where we feel like, hey, this is what we're trying to resemble. And we always start, when we trying to create a new product or a new scent, we always start with an emotion. Okay, what is what we feel what is the feeling we trying to like show to the world? What is the story we trying to tell with this candle? Okay, this is the base, we start with this, and then we move on to, okay, those scents might help. So it might be a bit sweeter scent, a bit of a musty scent. It depends on what we actually trying to portray. And of that base, we just build everything up. We go with the wax, with the color and everything. So it's really, the product is a full resemblance of what the initial thought was. So.
Exactly, and with just adding a small thing, this campaign that we was shot last year in October in Ghana, in Accra, during a journey that we had there. And it's a campaign for our new upcoming scented candle called Zenzi, which comes in a burgundy colorway. And the idea was to resemble like the empowerment of women basically in West Africa, because we both, and I think a lot of us here, grew up in a way where we just experienced a very strong woman in our household who was basically doing everything, providing, taking care of children, working, literally running the show, you know. And yeah, and just why we wanted to dedicate this particular scent to this new burgundy colorway, and that's why we used my grandmother, my mother, and family friends from my mom. It was a very fun production, but also very challenging one, because you can imagine those are not professional actors. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Can you describe the scent notes a bit?
The scent notes are ambergris, amber, saffron, jasmine. So it's kind of suitable for the winter, I would say, a bit more warm, a bit more strong. And I think it kind of goes well with what we wanted to portray with strong women and empowerment. Yeah. Definitely, I think I can say that, maybe Freddy as well, in a positive way, a mommy's boy for sure.
400%. I mean, just a little bit of intel. This is the second time we tried to shoot something in Ghana, Accra. The first time I tried, if I show you the footage, you will laugh so much. It didn't go our way, so we were definitely happy with this outcome.
So I was thinking of opening up to the audience and seeing if anyone has a question or like wondering anything. If not, I know Swedish audiences can be shy, so if not, you can keep it, and then when we start mingling again, you can approach Freddy and Alex.
I have a question. So it's a question, that's a question you already asked. So Masha asked that if you had to make a scent for the diaspora, what would it smell like? And I'm curious to know.
I was going to ask the same question.
That's a good question. I mean, like I said, when we do scents, what do we feel? We start with the base. What's the feeling? What's the feeling of diaspora to me personally? I feel like this needs a strong base, something that's that shows strength in a positive way. Same way I would have it sounds kind of weird, but I want it to be warm, like a warm base as well. So that would be the two emotions or prescriptions I would use initially to go on towards diaspora. And then I think the most interesting part, or what we haven't even talked about, is that I may view it this way, but now there are two people into this. So Alex may say, hey, but this is how I feel about this, which is totally fair since he may have some differences in that feeling. So we kind of melt those things. And I would say like going in that trajectory, having that base, then you can just use whatever. And then you can also go back. I mean, we've been in Ghana, or let's say in our home country many, many times, and also connect with locals in terms of, okay, what sense do they refer to? And so very interesting question. Maybe that might be a project that we want to do next. But I would start with warm as a base, a core base for this scent, and strength. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I guess it's kind of complex because when you're on the diaspora, you're going through so many different emotions, right?
True.
And then you're like, so it's, I kind of like how you work on a particular memory to invoke the scent as well.
True. Yeah.
Because it'll be very complex to try and capture the whole diasporic experience in one scent, but accept the challenge going.
Yes, that's true.
You had a question.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the story. It made me think about the German writer Patrick Süskind's the perfume, the novel. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it reminded me.
You're taking my question.
Sorry. So I was thinking about a lot of that novel while you were talking. So I want to ask if you have encountered the book or have you read it?
Excuse me, acoustically, I didn't. The name was?
Perfume. It's called The Perfume, right? It's a novel.
Okay.
I've heard it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah.
I've heard it, but I haven't read it.
Class. He goes to
Yes,
class.
exactly.
Yeah.
Patrick Süskind.
Okay.
So the sense of smell is the topic, and the relationship you have with the smell and the emotions. It's really similar. That was just made me think about that. But I was also curious about your creation and the productions around the candles and smell. It's kind of artistic, and it's the whole reason maybe you're here. But I want to ask, how you describe that relationship? Do you consider this creation as a kind of artistic process in some ways?
100%, definitely. I mean, to start off, we personally don't see ourselves as professional perfumers. We just two guys that try to, transcribe the feelings into emotions. But yeah, we would definitely say so.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about perfumes, and like I already said, like everyone views it differently. So me standing here and saying I'm the guy who transcribes every emotion or every feeling into scents is a bit wrong, I feel like, because everyone has a different perspective on how stuff should feel or smell afterwards. But in that term, or how we do it, is definitely our art, our craft, how we do this transcription, and also the visualization of the stuff that we want to portray. So we do have a very specific, let's say, idea. And to put this idea into like reality, I feel like our approach is very artistic and different from the usual candle manufacturer, I would say. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you have an artistic approach, does it have to smell good?
Ooh, that's a very, very tough question. Yes. Yes. I don't know if Alex feels differently, but at the end of the day, people are gonna like this candle. So,
Because I can say I grew up on the countryside. The springtime on the countryside.
I can imagine, yeah.
Doesn't always smell
Yes,
good, but
yes.
smell good in another way.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Tatu, for example, was a candle we produced. Initially, weren't really happy with the scent in general. We were like, okay, this is what we're trying to portray, but is this my personal favorite candle? Probably no, but this is exactly what we want to show. So bringing it out and finding out later, hey, people really like it. Like they feel like this is their favorite scent. Like I heard it so many times. Maybe answers your question in terms like it doesn't always have to suit us. Like we don't want to always produce stuff that's like perfect for us, but it needs to like be perfect in terms of what we're trying to portray. And I would not, or maybe Alex also can say, but we would not put something out that we are not like happy with and what's not smelling good in our sense. But we may put out stuff that might not be directly our preference, but like nails the objective that we have.
I have a question. Will I be able to buy a candle and bring it back home tonight?
It's a very good question. We do have a few actually. Okay, we
and
do.
you might win one in the raffle, so
Yeah.
we should start passing the papers around before you spend your money. Just wait and see.
I think we will find a way. We will find a way.
Otherwise,
We will
they
always
come quite
find a way.
quickly.
Always find a way.
You sell them online, so they come
Yeah,
quite quickly. Delivery is like quite quick.
We have
I just wanted to jump into the logo or the symbol.
Yeah.
If you could, talking about the.
So basically, to talk about the symbols, so we have those Adinkra symbols in Ghana, which comes from the Ashanti tribe. So we have a bunch of symbols that stand for different kind of things. This symbol was suitable for us because it represented what we wanted to communicate with our candles. It stands for strength, humility, and for being brave. And that's something very important to us that we want to communicate through our products. And yeah, that's why we chose this one and not any other symbol. Exactly.
Hi. Sorry, finally. You've talked about this process and production, working with Portuguese ceramicists and perfumers in Grasse, which really, of course, it means that your R&D is legit, right? But how do you take this manufacturing and this creativity that you've done in Europe back home? Like, how are you going to find someone back home who can be your ceramicist, or do you think about that? Like, how are you going to take back the knowledge that you have and take it back to Ghana?
I love this question. I love this question. It's not an easy question to answer, but I love it. I lied. I said that the idea of us, I said the idea of us like producing this candle comes from us moving into different spaces. Yes, that's partially true, but our first initial conversation was in Ghana, I remember, where me and Alex sat down, we were on a visit. I hadn't been there like 4 years or something. We were on a visit for a month or so. And we were just talking about, hey, we want to do something that resembles also Ghana, that shows where we're from, and we want to do it here. Initially, we didn't get to do what we like planned in Ghana, but then we started this project. Long-term vision, obviously, is to make this, to carry this story onto the world, not just home, but everywhere where our stories needs to be heard. Specific plans and going into back home, like in the next few years, not right now, but it's definitely something we thought about already. Like, hey, we do know a lot of creative people in Ghana as well. I remember Alex having a spontaneous photo shoot when we were in Ghana. So having that knowledge and that thought captured here in our European side, I would say, or Western side, we definitely aspire to bring this back one day. And let's say, for example, we have a production there. Even if not production, we have some kind of showroom or work with local artists. So this has been always on top of mind for us, but we haven't reached the point yet that we are able to do it.
And also, as he said, we want to do that in future, but at the same time, it's also super important to us to always work with local people, as we did for this production, as we did before, because I think it comes very, not strange, but it's very surprising sometimes when you see two guys to men who actually are interested in, first of all, scented candles, because it's so specific, you know. Telling that to people sometimes can be confusing. Like, okay, why didn't you choose to do clothing instead of home fragrance, like instead of fashion, like clothing and stuff? I personally wouldn't know what to do new, but I think this resembles us pretty well. And of course, we always want to bring our heritage into our product, into our brand. That's 100% for sure. But I think it's also not only narrowed down to that, because at the end of the day, we speak about experience and belonging, and I think that can be for any kind of person, regardless if you are from Ghana or not, because at the end of the day, when someone is a Swede and he moves from Sweden to England or whatsoever, you will have to adjust or, like, you know, settle down in a way and adapt that as well. So it's basically our story that we are projecting to our product, but then at the same time, you can decide with your experience, with your background, what you take from it, you know? So it's basically for everybody in a sense.
Thank you. I might let that be the final word, unless there's someone with a burning question. There's someone, okay.
So I understand you produce your candles with manufacturers today, which sounds, what I take from it is that you've come quite far in your journey. But I'm interested in knowing, where did you start? How did you start, like, creating your candles?
Okay, so basically I was into pottery, but to be very frank with you, I wasn't the best. So that idea kind of disappeared very quickly. But then I did an internship at a jewelry brand called Louis Abel, who actually produced organic shaped jewelry. And I really liked the idea of producing organic things that are inspired by nature, humanity, and etc., because it kind of resembles different kind of paths. So that was basically the kickoff for this particular shape. Yeah.
And I mean, in terms of production, where we started, it was kind of a running start for us, since we had like the model that we wanted to create, but it was really a hassle to find someone who can bring this vision to life. So we talked to local potteries, we talked to potteries overseas, and it was just not really feasible till we met someone in Portugal who said, hey, we can do this for you guys, and we can also start off with a smaller amount. Since I think what's the interesting part is they saw the vision. So they were like, hey, we do have a minimal order that you guys have to take, but we love this product so much, we will start off with you, and then essentially we can scale it, which luckily it works, or is working right now. So we did start off with one small production and them, and they believed in the vision, and then we just were able to do more with them.
Yeah, and one important.
Before you continue, so that's what, like, the actual container of the candle.
Yes.
What about the development process of the fragrances?
Of the fragrances. That one was a bit tricky at the beginning, since like we had to find someone who can bring this scent into life. But we started off actually in Estonia. So like we said, we were on a production visit in Estonia, found someone very good there. Working with them was also very fun at the beginning. I think we switched now that our whole production cycle is in Portugal right now, since we just wanted to up our quality and everything. But finding that was also not very easy. But when we found someone, they kind of guided us also through the whole process. So I think I can be very honest with you and tell you we weren't really like experts in this field. So we needed guidance, and we still need guidance somehow nowadays. And we found that early on. We were lucky and had someone who helped us bring this vision basically to life.
Yeah, it contains of going to fair trades. We went to a fair trade in Frankfurt to meet the different production and manufacturers to gain information and how we can bring this to life, because it was super important for us to not have a candle which comes in a typical glass cylindric shape with a sticker on, because I think it's nothing that really resonates with us and showcase us.
Amazing journey, and we wish you all the best in the future. While I have your attention, actually, let's applaud for you first. realized that there was something I wanted to do in the beginning that I kind of forgot to do, and I wanted to introduce you to all the works. We talked a little bit about Diana's work in the corner there. If I could point to that. There are pieces of paper in the window. I hope that there's still somebody that will describe each work. So I'll just tell you the artist and the title of the work, and then after this talk, please walk around and engage with the works again. So we have the woven piece is by Muriel Makatini. She's based in Lund, a South African artist who's been living in Sweden for many, many years, and it's called Morgonsång. Underneath it, we have a print by Erik Magassa called Zanzam, and Erik is based in Gothenburg, but I think tomorrow, if you're in town, there's something happening at Tea and Stockholm South. So check that out with Erik involved. In the window there, we have a cushion by Damien Ajabon, and that was part of Southnord's design collection that we collaborated with Svensk 10 with. The print over there is by Frida Urpabo, Norwegian artist, who just had a big exhibition at Bonniers and is now opening an exhibition in Norway, where Southnord is going to do a program point. So if you're in Oslo, come for that. On the table here, we have Senai Vere's Till Everywhere. It's a series of photographs. We are displaying one at a time, so you are not allowed to pull the books out and look at their rest. You'll have to come back to another time, but it's a beautiful collection of images. Behind us here we have Lydia Solomon, and this work is called Being, and Lydia was our Up Next winner last year. This autumn we have every year open call for young artists under 24.
What we changed it, so it's 18 to 28 now. 18 to 28, yes, so we upped it to give more an option, because it's not just being young, it's also being established in the Nordic region. So that open call's coming up really soon. So if you know anyone who's in that age range, please encourage them to apply. We have Uwa Rose over here with this beautiful image of Uwa is Nigerian Finnish, and this image was shown at the Southnord Art Fest, the very first one in 2023 at Kulturhuset, and we are right now in the midst of planning our 2026 Art Fest, which is going to be in Helsinki, so keep an eye out for that. And Uwa followed a series of or a number of people for a while and photographed him. And this photograph is actually taken in Nigeria, where this man went back home to rest and relax. And over here we have this beautiful sculpture by Yemisi Wilson, Yemoja, and Yemisi's in the corner there. And Yemisi had a solo exhibition here this autumn, and we just fell in love with her, so we could not let this goddess go. She's a goddess of water, moon, motherwood, and a protection in the Yoruba region. And I'd like to add that Yemisi is part of the Lydia Valt's Vår Salon, which opens Friday for the public. He has a number of sculptures in that show, and all of them were also shown in this space. So if you have time, go to Lydia Valt's on Friday and you'll get to see them, and if you bring your wallet so you can also get to buy them. We have, next to Yemisi there, we have a work by Rafiki, a Congolese and Norwegian photographer, and that work is called The New African, and it's taken in Johannesburg, where she was on residency there. And the large image on textile is by Alexandra Dasnevis Lehmann, and she was our very first Up Next winner and our very first exhibition in this space.
So we're very happy to have that in the collection, and that was from her exhibition. It was a whole installation, so there's several pieces to that work. And that exhibition was called Earthbound, a visual journey of Earth's embrace, and she was working with portraiture and landscape together, and Diana's we have talked about. So please, thank you so much for your attention. Please take a walk and look